Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm going to answer it with snark um, because the Air Force PT test is an open book test. I love. Oh, oh, oh.
Next thing, I just want to ask you, like, what's it like just being an officer? Like, how do you feel about being an officer? And then also a side question, like, what are your expectations for like younger airmen like myself, or even airmen like lower ranking than me? Like, what expectations would you have, like, if you had like obviously airmen like my rank or lower?
Yeah, so I will say that first off, to answer your first question, right? How is it being an officer? I think, you know, is this a time where I insert the corny like public service announcement, like the advertisement and all that? No, I mean no. So to be serious, I actually do kind of like some of those like pace videos. So shouts out to Air Force PA. Public affairs, if they're watching, like you guys actually do really good. Like I get chills from those videos, so they're very very motivational. But in regards to being an officer, like it honestly is, I would say that it's super rewarding for multiple reasons, right? The first being, at least for me, it provides this alternative view on just what it takes to like govern and manage a lot of people in programs. You know what I'm saying? Like it gives you more respect for those people that are in those senior, those executive, those like higher positions. It gives you so much more respect for it because that's you. You know what I mean? Like you're doing it. You're the one that is essentially setting the pace. You know what I mean? So I would say that it's rewarding in that sense because it literally enlightens you to everything that you thought. Like as an enlisted member, right? We were always pretty much casting stones. We was talking trash. I wasn't. I've never talked trash about any leadership, but it's not that we were talking trash. But I would say that we seriously did not understand what type of pressure was put on those people that are in charge of programs and people. So after being in the seat, this would be my like 5th year almost, right? And I've learned a lot. So yeah, it's rewarding in that sense, but then also in the other sense, the part about it's the people part. So I appreciate the ability, right, to literally affect change.
Yep.
Like actually, right? I remember being an airman, an NCO, spinning my wheels and like putting in all these hours and all this hard work and providing my feedback and my perspective and my opinions and all the programs that I thought needed to be changed, and only to see those things actually be changed like 1% of the time. Like the other 99% of the time, it was like it almost felt like your voice got lost and everything else. You know what I mean? So I understand being on that side, how difficult it is, right? To not even just speaking as like an airman, right? Or an NCO, just speaking as anybody that's in the quote unquote junior tier of any organization, right? You always feel like it doesn't even matter what I'm saying or doing. Like the leadership's gonna do what they want to do, and that's because they're being told to do what their boss wants to do. So I'm really literally just a cog in a machine. That's how it could appear, right? So reverse back to the effect that you're able to provide as an officer. Like you can't take that for granted. You know what I'm saying? It's not just like, oh, when you walk around, people salute you and you've got you got a little bit more priority. People listen to you when you speak. All that comes with the job, right? But also they say heavy is the crown. You know what I mean? So you can't take that lightly. And so not only do you have the ability to affect change in your local level, but you have the ability to affect change and like drive the outcomes of your organization as a whole. So you're like the jack of all trades. You know what I'm saying? Good officers have the ability, in my opinion, to not only get things done, right, but also they have to be able to motivate the people around them or that they may be in charge of to be able to get things done, but not only just get things done and be effective, but to be better than effective. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to be somebody that actually gets things done, right, or inspires the next person to want to get things done, then I think officer route is the way to go. But it cannot take it lightly. Like, it's not sweet. You know what I'm saying? It's not sweet. Like, you're gonna work. You're gonna have to put in work, right? That's the only thing I would say about that. In regards to what I enjoy about being an officer, right? I enjoy dealing with people. Like, I'm a people person, so I love being that person. I love being able to, like, make those around me again happy and motivate them and all that. So yeah, I enjoy that. So the second part of your question is, like, what would I expect, right? Mm-hmm. From maybe the airmen that I'm, in charge of, if you will. The biggest thing that I would expect is, well, I'll list out some things like ingenuity, you know what I mean? I expect boldness, right? I expect courage, right? I expect ownership, accountability, right? And I expect humility, you know what I'm saying? I expect open communication. And then also I expect personality. Like, just because we're wearing this uniform does not mean that we stop being the person that, was wearing this uniform before. We have to obviously develop and we have to grow. And that's where the personality comes into place, right? I expect, as someone who understands that they're not going to be in the position that they are right now soon, right? I expect them, just like me, to put in work to develop themselves, right? Continuously. That's an internal creed that I have, right? But also, I would say that my time in the military thus far has fortified that in me. This is a result of having good leaders and bad leaders, right? That's what I would say. I expect airmen that are in right now across the services, so, whether they're an airman, whether they're a soldier, whatever it is, right? I expect progression. That's why you have to keep moving forward. You literally have to, every single day. Understand that nobody is coming to save you, right? Understand that if you don't care, then why should I, right? Yeah. The core of all that, it just comes down to accountability. I just expect you to hold yourself accountable and literally wake up and say, you know what? No, I'm going to get it for myself, right? And also, when I'm part of a team, I'm going to make sure that my team has it too. That's what I want, right? Everybody that I work for, and the people that that work for me, I like to say they work with me, because you can't make anybody do anything. Of course, I have the positional authority to be able to, right, influence, if you will, somebody's decisions, via paperwork. But at the same time, I'm dealing with humans. If we have rapport, if I have rapport with my leadership, right, they don't have to mandate or force me to do something. I'm gonna want to do it based on the rapport that we've established, right? Like, here's another thing that I expect: awareness, both self-awareness and then awareness around you. You know what I mean? Like, I will say there's a lot of younger airmen, young NCOs, if you will, too, that I talk to that. And maybe this is because they haven't been afforded the opportunity to maneuver around some of these, like, executive worlds, but they don't come correct. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will say, I talked about personality. Of course, have a personality, right? Be yourself, always striving to be better, but also understand where you're at. You know what I mean? Like, it's a time and a place for everything, right? I think leaders are very keen and they desire young leaders that are going to resemble that. They're going to be like, hey, we can have a conversation, right? We can laugh, we can share stories, all that stuff. but then also understanding like once we go out of these closed doors, right, and we enter the operational Air Force, so we are around leaders that have earned their rank, that are maybe majors, lieutenant colonels, all that stuff, that we're gonna carry ourselves professionally. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna speak with pride. We're gonna do our best to put our best foot forward with every step. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I expect. I expect anybody that's watching this or interested in being in the military, still or already in the military, look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I open to feedback? You know what I'm saying? That's what I expect as a leader. That's what I expect for myself, right? If somebody tells me that I can improve somewhere, I expect, that person to have the humility to understand that, hey, they're trying to get me here because they see something in me. If they didn't care about you or they didn't see something in you, they wouldn't say anything. And that's actually where you don't want to be.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the airman or whoever that's like cast out. You know what I mean? Because nobody believes that you're going to ever be anything, right? You don't want to be that.
Wow. I'll just say from an airman side of things, like, so obviously, like when you're dealing with an officer, always have the proper courtesies to them. Like if they walk into a room, please call the room to attention. If they're talking to you, please stand at parade rest. If they're talking to you, you just want to be courteous to everybody. I know some officers are lenient to others. Maybe when y'all can build that relationship, maybe they'll slack off about it a little bit, but always a first impression just show them that, hey, I'm a disciplined airman. So he knows, like, okay, so if it came down to it, he trusts that I know, like, if I meet another officer, he knows that I'll show him the same customer courtesies he showed me when he first came in. Also, I wanted to say about being an airman was, like, what I kind of expect from an officer, because you guys are pretty much the leader of a flight. Like, you guys are pretty much, like, the leader of the flight, like, kind of I don't know, maybe like the decision maker for most of the things, like how it run versus how you want your NCOs to run to the airmen. Because I know for the most part, you guys aren't on, depending on where you work, but for most places, you guys aren't like hands-on to day-to-day operations. You guys are like hands-off of that, more of like decisions, boring meetings I hear, and just all that.
It's all day. This could have been an email, you know what I mean? Why are we sitting in this meeting? Like I ain't got 1,000 things to do.
But honestly, if you guys have a really good officer that's a really great leader, he'll give you great advice, and obviously make sure you're a great follower. And also, from whatever you're doing, try to be a subject matter expert in whatever you're doing to become that leader. And he'll see that, and you'll get recognition, get up for awards, and all that. So just try to keep that in mind as well, just thinking about it from my side of things, like airmen, if you guys want to obviously be enlisted versus his side, officer. So the next thing is kind of way off topic. Somebody in my comments asked me this, so I know I was supposed to make a video on it, but why not? You're really fit, so I'm just gonna ask you. So I just want to ask you, like, just talk about, you don't have to talk about everything about the PT test, but just talk about, like, just how to prepare for it. Like, how would you prepare for the PT test? Because that's really important for your career. You have to pass this, by the way. So keep that in mind. It's really, really important. So floor is yours.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm going to answer it with snark. Because the Air Force PT test is an open book test. I love that answer. Like, a recruiter's gonna tell you that same thing. If you go to basic training, they're like, how did you fail? Like, it's literally an open book test, right? If you don't have any health conditions, right, that would preclude you from being able to pass a test. But I say again, it's an open book test. They give you the scores. They say, you, based off of your age, right, you have to be able to achieve this amount of push-ups. You should be able to achieve this amount of push-ups, this amount of sit-ups, in this time on a 1.5 mile run, right? The official fitness test, like requirements, scores, all that stuff is available, right? It's available for everybody. But again, if you guys want to know any more information about that, hit up King JT, right? Hit up myself, and we'll get you in touch with the right people. But anyway, as far as preparation, so for me, I used to be I'm still kind of I'm not a huge gym goer anymore, right? I used to be really, it's just because it's more of like, I stopped trying to get like swole, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to get swole anymore. I ain't gonna lie to you. But I also, I just do it, I do what works for my body type, right? So I focus more on like calisthenics, right? Sprints and push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, like, you know, those types of things. Of course, you know, weight training at least once a week, right? But for the most part, for me, I just stick to body weight exercises, right? Because that's if you're training for the PT test, that is what they're gonna evaluate you on. How many push-ups can you do? How many sit-ups you can do in a minute, right? And then how fast can you run 1.5 miles? As long as you come in with at least the minimum requirements, then you're gonna be fine. But yeah, for me, I would say, first off, do not try to follow anybody, right? That one doesn't look the way that you want to look, right? And then two, has you doing things that are going to potentially injure you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that serious. Your PT test is every year, and they changed it up to now it's in your birthday month.
Yep.
So you have all year, okay? And honestly, I want to destroy the notion or that mindset that we need to be studying for our PT test. We need to be like working out because it's good for us, right? Like, you need to, outside of the uniform, right? I'm trying to be fit, you know what I mean? I want to feel good about myself, because when I feel good about myself, I can come to work and I can perform well, right? When you look good, when you play good, right? You're right. So and then also, at the end of the day, we're required to be fit and to be ready to essentially deploy at a moment's notice. We can't get it twisted. That's literally why we joined you know what I mean, the Department of Defense, the armed forces, is because we're responsible for the defense of the nation, right? So if you can't run 1 mile, listen, is that the person that you want, like, defending you? You know what I'm saying? I don't want nobody in my camp, right? Like, where I got to put my life in their hands and they're not even taking the time to like do a push-up or two, right? So anyway, that's a whole segue. I'm done with the rant. But what I would recommend is, honestly, first off, evaluate yourself. Like, evaluate how it's a holistic thing, right? How are you eating? You know what I mean? Like, are you eating fast food every day? If you are, then please stop. I care about you. Stop doing that to yourself. But second, just research some things, right? Honestly, I would start with, go to the medical group, right? I would start with seeking out your provider, a physician, or somebody that can evaluate you where you're at now, right? Whether that's you're training to join the military, right? Or you're already in the military, you're just getting out of the military, whatever. You're not even interested in the military, but you are just interested in staying fit. Start with a self-evaluation, right? Ideally by a trained clinician or professional, right? Go get some help, right? And I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm crushing it every day. I'm not. Like, there's some days I miss the gym, there's some days I don't do any exercise, all that. But here's the thing. I've afforded myself the ability to miss a couple days because majority of the time, right, I'm not studying to pass a PT test, right? I'm working out because it's the right thing to do for myself, for my health. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All that sounds like a lot, but really, if we're just dialing it back day by day, wake up in the morning, do 30 push-ups, right? If you're a man, do 30 push-ups. If you're a woman, do 30 push-ups. Shoot. You know what I mean? Yeah, like that, because you can't. There's women out here that are crushing the game, crushing it, right? So just start with that. 30 push-ups, 30 sit-ups, right?
Yeah.
Do 30 squats, right? See if you can do 5 pull-ups, if you have it, right? Do that. Do the plank for a minute or two, right? Just do that every day. And then make sure, obviously, you're stretching as well, right? But those are the things that I personally do whether I wake up and do it or I do it before the end of the day. I try to at least get 30, 40 push-ups in there, right? Mm-hmm. Do some flutter kicks, do some sit-ups. and then try to get some cardio as well. You can do some jumping jacks, you know what I'm saying? You can do
Yep.
some burpees. Burpees are great. I'm a little bit older now,
I hate
and
those.
I be feeling it, but those burpees, that's a full body workout. Burpees, planks, like those things will get you right. And honestly, somebody throw in the chat, like, who's gonna start that workout challenge? Who's gonna start the workout challenge? Somebody's gotta start it, man.
Somebody.
Let us know let us know how serious we are about defending this nation. You know what I'm saying?
True. Oh man, I really appreciate you for just coming through and answering like all my questions. But just before we go, I just want you to. I know you said you had like channels. If you want to like shout out your channels, you can.
Yeah.
My editor, he'll find them and he'll just put them on there. So.
Nice. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, so before I do that, this was great. I appreciate, you listening to this. They call me old. I feel like I'm 32. Like, I don't feel like I'm that old, but yo, this man's on this deathbed. Like, he ain't got too much longer. He looking a little frail. No, I appreciate that you allowed me to come through your channel, man, and just, try to share some wisdom that I've learned. I have plenty more. I love to talk. So I love to talk. If you guys want to get with me after this, then please hit me up, in the comments and all that stuff. I do the YouTube stuff as well. You can find me under Bizzy Dubs, so Bizzy Dubzz. That's Bizzy Dubs is my YouTube channel. So I'm trying to get back into it. I did a little bit of like moto vlogging and all that, but now I'm focusing more on just kind of reactions to things that I find interesting, whether that's like motivational things, maybe some funny things here and there, but for the most part, I want to be a resource for people, you know what I mean? I want to build a community similar to what you've done as well. So
Try it, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Like I said, you're inspiring me to continue to go and pursue that passion. So Bizzy Dubs, you can find me on YouTube, also Instagram, Bizzy Dubs. I post little shorts and stuff like that. Again, motivational stuff, relationship stuff, anything really, anything that's like, in my opinion, worthwhile conversation, like this one.
Okay.
This was worthwhile conversations, information people want to know. I'd love to be able to provide it. So,
Dang. Yeah. So if y'all should definitely subscribe, watch his channel, just give it a try. Like, you never know, could be good. But I just wanted, if you guys are still here right now, I just want to say thank y'all for watching. I'm JT, and I'm out. Peace.
peace.